The Indiana Fever fans were chanting, "Sophie, Sophie."
In a game where Caitlin Clark kept getting fouled with no calls from the refs, fans were fed up and shouting, "Do something." That's when Sophie Cunningham stepped up and delivered exactly what was needed. In a moment that quickly went viral, Sophie Cunningham didn't just respond to Yahush or the Connecticut Sun. She sent a loud and clear message to the whole WNBA, don't mess with Caitlin Clark.
Teams are going to have to think twice about messing with Caitlin Clark again.
While fans were outraged watching Caitlin Clark take hit after hit with no real response from the refs, they finally got what they'd been asking for: someone to stand up, push back, and make it clear enough is enough. That someone was Sophie Cunningham, out of a game filled with missed calls and frustration. She stepped up and made a statement. In that one moment, she didn't just back up her teammate. She may have shifted the whole energy of the Fever season, and sure, it might seem early to say this, but Sophie Cunningham just put the entire sports world on notice.
They didn't know, like, whoa, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe people are doing this to Caitlin Clark. Teammates weren't jumping in there. They bring in Sophie Cunningham. I had no idea. Sophie Cunningham was a black belt at the age of 6.
Yeah. Yep.
Boom! Wow.
Impact has been almost instant, just 48 hours after the game. Sophie Cunningham's name is everywhere. The clips are blowing up. Fans are fired up, and the vibe around the team has totally shifted. This isn't just Fever versus the league anymore. It's Caitlin versus everybody, and now Sophie. She's clearly her ride or die, her enforcer, her bodyguard. Here's the crazy part: that one moment, it could seriously change Sophie's career and her bank account. We're talking millions. No exaggeration, and the signs are already showing. Let's break it all down. But first, hit that like button. Drop a boxing glove emoji in the comments if you're here for Sophie's energy. And subscribe for the latest WNBA news.
When they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long. All season long. It's not just this game. It's been happening all season long. This is what happens, right? This is what happens. You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete. And they're going to have their teammates' backs.
There's no sugarcoating it. The Fever's game against the Sun was a low point for the WNBA. Complaints about the officiating aren't new. They've been around for years. Just recently, Kelsey Plum got emotional talking about how she hopes things finally improve. But what went down in that game made one thing crystal clear: players are taking shots at Caitlin Clark, and the refs are letting it slide. It's open season, and no one's stepping in to stop it.
Watch when Caitlin Clark is trying to create some space. It looked like she just got hit in the eye there.
Ooh, and Marina Mabrey, I missed that one, Idona.
Sheldon went straight at the league's biggest star. And in the chaos that followed, Marina Mabrey slammed into Caitlin Clark, knocking her to the floor. It felt like deja vu, as if Dejanai Carrington and Chennedy Carter had cloned themselves and come back in as a tag team. And when the other angles of the play started circulating, it became obvious it was even worse than it looked live.
This angle is wild, folks. There's the eye gouge. Watch Mabrey. Boom! I mean, come on.
Swipe wasn't some random accidental play. It was intentional, and Marina didn't just bump Caitlin. She launched her in the NBA. That kind of contact would have been flagged immediately. But in the WNBA, it's starting to feel like business as usual, and honestly, that's frustrating. Yes, Lexi got in JC's face a little, but there wasn't much of a reaction from the rest of the Fever on the court. Even head coach Stephanie White seemed quiet in the moment. She definitely made up for it in the post-game press conference. But fans were hoping for something a little more fiery. Let's be real, folks were practically begging her to pull a full Bobby Knight and toss a chair, and given Knight's Indiana legacy, that would have been iconic. And for anyone trying to spin this into Caitlin soft, just stop. That narrative doesn't hold.
It made me think if this was LeBron in the NBA, think if this was Steph Curry in the NBA, do you really think that the NBA would be allowing certain players in the NBA to go after LeBron the way that Caitlin was chucked to the ground? Do you think if another player came up, blindsided LeBron, chucked him to the ground after he had just been poked in the eye, that the NBA would be like, oh yeah, technicals, nobody's ejected, just a common technical foul? That would never happen. It would never happen.
There's just no way something like this would happen to Steph or LeBron without major consequences. The fact that Marina Mabrey wasn't ejected for that body check left the commentators stunned. And here's the truth. Caitlin Clark is more crucial to the WNBA right now than Steph or LeBron are to the NBA. That's not an overstatement or a hot take. It's just facts. When Caitlin missed 5 games, the impact was immediate. Ratings dipped, but slowed down, and the energy shifted. She's not just a rookie. She's the engine driving the league's momentum.
Even as good as that rating was, Caitlin Clark's good for about 1 million extra viewers.
Ratings didn't just dip when Caitlin Clark sat out. They tanked. Fever games were down over 50%, and overall interest in the league took a serious hit. You'd think there'd be a clear directive by now. Protect the star. Give her the same treatment top NBA players get. The calls, the respect, the bubble wrap if needed. But instead, what we got wasn't just a blown call. It was outright disrespect toward the WNBA's most valuable player now. It's not just fans speaking out. Analysts, former players, and pretty much everyone watching are calling out the refs. Because this isn't just about a few missed whistles. It's about a league failing to protect its biggest draw.
And I mean, when I tell you social media is setting the WNBA on fire right now, not in a good way, that's the understatement.
Even though the Fever were comfortably ahead and Caitlin Clark had already delivered the night's highlight. With a clutch three-pointer and some sharp trash talk to the Suns bench, something still felt off. It wasn't over. It didn't feel settled. There was a gap, a sense that the message hadn't been made clear yet. That's when Sophie stepped up and changed everything.
That's a flagrant foul. It's a hard foul.
With the game already in hand, Sophie hit Yahush Sheldon with a tough foul and then showed off her taekwondo skills right after. It was a release for everyone. Fever fans, WNBA fans, Caitlin Clark supporters, all of us fed up with how Clark had been treated. Finally, someone pushed back, but it wasn't just about that one play. It felt like Sophie was standing up for weeks of cheap shots, missed calls, and disrespect. She wasn't just defending Caitlin. She was speaking for every fan who's watched the refs turn a blind eye. That foul wasn't just a play. It was payback.
I truly think that this was a message that she was sending to the leagues, to the officiating, just like to everybody, because it is, if you are watching any of these games, you are seeing that there is a disparity in the way that it's being officiated, and the Indiana Fever are held to a standard that no other team is.
Here's where it gets really interesting, and why this is about more than just one tough foul. What happened against the Sun feels like a real turning point for the league. Maybe now the WNBA will finally take a serious look at its officiating and start making changes. Maybe. But letting a full-on face swipe and a body check against the league's biggest star go without any real consequences? That was a step way too far.
Enough is enough. You know, at some point, the line gets crossed too often where something needs to be done and things need to be corrected.
The game sparked to big outcomes, and both are huge. First, there are Caitlin Clark's fans who've been dealing with frustration for over a year. They've been dismissed by the media, told they aren't real basketball fans, and even face harsh insults. All while they packed arenas and boosted viewership like crazy. Now, after seeing Caitlin get swiped across the face and slammed to the floor with no consequences, that frustration has turned into full-on outrage.
Again, the league's been handed this miracle, this beacon of light, while it was down in some dungeon in the basement on life support, and it was never turned a profit, lost $40 million last year. They get handed this beacon of light, and all these players cannot stand her. They're jealous, the players union. It looks like the whole league.
A lot of Caitlin Clark fans have reached a breaking point. It feels like the league doesn't want to succeed with her. When that happens, something changes. Fans end up hoping for two things at the same time: that Caitlin keeps dominating, and that the league struggles without her, because if the WNBA won't protect her, promote her, or even recognize how much she's helping the league grow, why would her fans stick around for anything else? It's a terrible situation, one that divides fans, isolates the league's biggest star, and hurts the league's future. And then there's this.
So this is a petition to get Sophie Cunningham removed from the WNBA, where she displayed tonight was disgusting.